All right, so we went through a whole bunch of reflexes there with the immune system and the general organs in the body. You know, underneath on the throat here, get away from the speaker, on the throat here would be thyroid reflex. If you reach around the back, right below your ribs in the back is kidney reflex. And just on top of the ribs back there is adrenal. So you'd reach around, roll down the back, find those ribs. As soon as you tuck under the ribs, kidney reflex. Come up on the ribs, adrenal. Reach on the other side, kidney, adrenal. Test those. We did liver, we did most of these internal organs here. Then, if you find the point of the hip, if you come over, slightly across and slightly down, and just say ovary reflex. You don't have to be exactly over it, but as long as you intentionally say that, ovary. Go to the middle, uterus, ovary. In guys, for prostate, if you press on the pubic bone and roll off that pubic bone, when you roll off the pubic bone above it, your abdomen tucks inwards. So you roll off that pubic bone, you tuck inwards, come up a half of an inch. That's bladder reflex, come up half an inch, prostate, or reversed. I forget which is which. I just test those two reflexes, see what's weak there to test those. So find the point of the hip, uterus, ovary, uterus, ovary, with guys, you know, prostate and bladder, women, bladder as well in that area. That's where you find those. And then point of the nose, right in the middle of the, not in the middle of the bridge, but a little bit north of center, is hormone reflex. If people say, you know, my hormones are off, test that reflex. And right at the hairline and right above the hairline is the brain salt reflex. Just below the hairline is general emotion reflex. So usually when I scan people, I usually don't hit the emotion reflex. We'll get into that later. But I do the brain salt reflex. Yeah, brain salt reflex is like, if you don't have enough minerals in your diet, that one could be off. It's not that one's not that big of a deal. That's what those are. We did the kidneys. So when you test kidneys, if people failing on a kidney test, you know, if their EGFR test on the blood test is off, also, you know, test that reflex back there and see if kidney and bladder tincture supports that. See if P5P supports it, you know, the B6, pyridoxal 5-phosphate, supports that reflex, as well as if that reflex is weak and they had a weak fungal reflex, test to see if that Candikill strengthens that reflex, or Paracleanse strengthens that reflex back there where the kidney is, because parasites or fungus can be attacking these organs, virus can be attacking those organs, bacteria can be attacking those organs. It may not be just, you know, the kidney filtering units can get clogged up, and your kidney bladder tincture may help you with that. But if it's a virus attacking that, you want it to have Immunomax. See if Immunomax strengthens that weak reflex. So you find what's weak, you find what strengthens it. That's why the first thing you do is you test for the immune reflex and see what generally immune is off. Is it fungus, parasites, bacteria, virus, whatever, and find out what strengthens that. And you find these other weak reflexes, you see if that same thing strengthens everything in the body, and usually it does. If Paracleanse strengthens everything, and the kidney reflex is weak, and see if that Paracleanse strengthens it. If Paracleanse doesn't, you know, definitely do the kidney and bladder tincture, test that anyway. If that kidney reflex is weak, test for the immune challenge back there, test kidney bladder tincture back there, and the pyridoxal 5-phosphate, the P5P. Okay. And as well, Adrenamax too. Test Adrenamax in that area too. Kidney and bladder tincture. You know, so now that you've discovered, you know, what's weak, you find out what strengthens this stuff. Always start with the immune reflexes first. And then probiotics too. There's superbiotics, frontier biotics, Probzyme, they all have probiotics in it. In my office, I have, I think, 9 different probiotic formulas in my office. And I test, you know, and probiotics are very specific. If a person tests on, say I have 6 different multivitamins in the office, and I test to see which multivitamins strengthen the weak reflexes. Sometimes 2 or 3 multivitamins will strengthen everything. Then you ask the body, is this one better for you than this one? Have them hold both. Is, you know, Ultra Preventive 3 from Douglas better than Nutritional Frontiers, Frontier multivitamin? And 93% of the time, it's Nutritional Frontiers Frontier multivitamin. So you find out which one's best for that, and then, you know, continue on testing the rest of the body. So probiotics, though, probiotics are very, very specific. If a person, all probiotics generally are good for you. You know, if you're having a challenge to your intestines, Get probiotics in your system. Frontier biotics, superbiotics, and even Probzyme. Especially with kids. Probzyme, kids will chew up a Probzyme, no problem. Some kids have a hard time swallowing pills, so give them Probzymes. So all probiotics are good, but specifically, if you want to be super specific, I have like 8 different ones in there, and usually it's just one probiotic strengthens all the weak reflexes. And quite often it's Frontier Biotics is the #1 tester, Superbiotics is the second best tester, and then any of the other ones. Their formulations are the best. Okay, so probiotics, Immunomax. So as far as, if that virus reflex is active, again, it doesn't mean you've got raging coronavirus and you need to quarantine for the rest of your life. We all have viruses in our body. They say, Dr. Bergman was saying, we have 70 million human cells in our body, 70 trillion human cells in our body. We have 70 trillion, we have 140 trillion bacteria in our body, and we have 280 trillion virus strains of DNA in our body, 280 trillion. So when they do a PCR test, what are they really finding? Okay, so Immunomax can strengthen that stuff. So if a person, like chiropractors, my neck used to bother me all the time. And when I started super supporting myself with nutrition, my neck pain went down significantly. My need to adjust went down significantly. And all these energy meridians flow through the body, through the neck. You've got the large intestine energy meridian flows through the scalenes in the neck. You've got the gallbladder, the bladder, the dew meridian goes through the neck. If you've got a blockage in the way energy flows in your body, you can block the way voltage flows through your neck. I tested a lady the other day. I tested each individual vertebrae. She was strong on each individual vertebrae. When I had my hand on her whole neck, it went weak, which generally means, the energy flow, her life force, her chi, isn't flowing through there. And we started delving into emotions for that and asking about that. And there was a lot of emotional trauma in her past that could be exacerbating neck misalignments because the energy isn't flowing through there. Okay. In particular, when we talk about this, on the top of the trapezius, when I was like my early 30s, my trapezius was killing me. Like these muscles were always in spasm. If you just grab me lightly, I'd wince. Well, gallbladder meridian's right on top of the trapezius. That could be an issue. I've had people that had shoulder pain, and I tested them, and their small intestine reflex was weak. I'm like, okay. So I reached back there on the back of the trapeze, on the back of the scapula over here, in the teres major, minor, and the infraspinatus, tested those reflexes. It went weak on her. That's where the small intestine energy meridian flows through there. And it could be the irritation to her small intestine was exacerbating the pain in the shoulder. And I've had several clients who, when you gave them they tested poorly, their fungus reflex was weak, you gave them Can-to-Kill, the shoulder pain went away. Because the energy is now flowing through his shoulder the way it should. So energy flows through the body, you find out what's weak here, you say, where else does it go through the body? Is it creating issues elsewhere? And that's kind of what this is alluding to. Okay, liver, yeah, so we haven't touched on liver a whole lot. Liver is like, a number of people I test have a weak liver response or gallbladder as well. A lot of people have their gallbladder moves. This is one of the best formulas. Literally, there's no formula I've ever tested better than LiveClear 2. Of all the other liver formulas I had, this one definitely tests the best. And then digestion. Digestion is huge, 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 huge. If you're not digesting food, you're not extracting nutrients from your food properly. So you're going to age more rapidly. Things will deteriorate more rapidly. You're not going to be drug deficient, you're nutrient deficient. There was a huge, huge research study done in the early 70s. They found you need all these different nutrients to make your body work right. They've identified 550 kinases in your cells. You need nutrients to make all those kinases work. You're not going to get those nutrients if you run out the door eating a Pop-Tart or a bagel or with cream cheese, or stop on the way in and get a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. You need complete nutrition. If you're rushed and you have to eat that type of diet because you're just so rushed, take multivitamin with you. Take an omega-3D with you. Pop these vitamins all the time. Get that nutrients in your body. You're probably going to need to support your digestion with Zyme or Betazyme. And if you have acid reflux, Probzyme. Every time I have acid reflux, I eat some food, I'm burping it up 2, 3, 4 hours later. Take 2 Probzyme, takes care of it. Okay, GI Complete. The lady that came to see me, she was constipated. I tested her, gave her the right antifungal stuff, gave her a group of nutrients, told her what foods to stay away from. She came back 4 weeks later and she says to me, Jeff, you're a miracle worker. I'm like, I'm not a braggart by any standard. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, I'm not constipated anymore. I'm like, that's awesome. How long have you been constipated? She goes, well, I'm 77 now, and I've been constipated since I was 17. I'm like, what? Like, 60 years. I'm like, that is amazing. I'll take that. But so it wasn't a fluke, because she came back in last week with her sister. She brought her sister in here. And I asked her, I said, how you doing? She goes, I haven't been constipated since. And GI Complete was one of the things that helped her. Of course, identifying what food to stay away from, identifying what you need to digest your food, help to nutrify your body. When you nutrify your body, your cells and organs start to work better. And through muscle testing and energy testing, kinesiology testing, you can test this kind of stuff. And GI Complete was one of the things that really helped her. Beta-zyme, Cybe-zyme. If that stomach acid reflex is weak, quite often it's beta-zyme. The gallbladder reflex is weak, quite often it's beta-zyme and or Cybe-zyme. If the digestive enzyme reflex is weak, Cybe-zyme usually. When we test on foods, if you need some support in addition to that, using Probe-zyme does the trick. Frontier Biotics, broad spectrum, multi-probiotic formula. Your immune system depends on this. The health of your intestines depends on this. The health of our body is completely dependent on how healthy your intestines are. And almost everybody I test on the first visit who's not taking a decent amount of nutritional supplements, large intestine, ascending is weak, transverse is weak, descending is weak, sigmoid colon's weak. How many people in here did I test? All those reflexes are weak on you. It's quite often, and almost everybody, the entire length of the large intestine is weak. And it's usually stomach acid or digestive enzyme reflex. One of those two is weak. Give them the right digestive formula and show them what foods to stay away from. Test on foods. Get them away from those foods while you're taking multivitamin of omega-3s to rebuild your body with a probiotic. Things start to work better. Okay, complete nutrition. You need all these different nutrients to make your body work. You can't live without it. Your body doesn't make all these different things, so you have to get it from your diet. So Frontier multivitamin, Frontier minerals. The Frontier minerals, these are patented forms of minerals that are the best forms out there. You can't go wrong with Frontier minerals. Now, Women's Complete versus Frontier multivitamin, test on that. Some women test better on Women's Complete. Some women test better on Frontier multivitamin. And like guys, most guys tested better on Frontier multivitamin, but I did have a guy test better on Women's Complete. Just that he needed those nutrients. It isn't a woman thing. He wasn't wearing a skirt or anything. But okay, so dosage. When we went through here, because all thoughts are energy. You ask a person when you're holding that bottle of Frontier multivitamin, let me see how your body responds to 2 of these a day, 3 a day, 4 a day. You just ask the body. Just ask. Let me see how you respond. Always ask that question. Let me see how your body responds. Let me see how your body responds. And sometimes a person didn't test well on Candy Kill per se. They had been taking Candy Kill and they stopped. And I said, well, let me see how your body responds and continue to have 1 of these a day. It was no. 1 of these a week. It was no. And he says, I have fungus on my toes. I'm like, okay. I said, when you kinesiology test, it's about the quality of the questions you ask. I said, well, let me see how your toes respond to 2 of these a day. Let me see how your toes respond to 3 a day. Let me see how your toes respond to 4 a day. He went, week. I said, let's keep taking 3 a day. So whenever you ask questions, we do muscle testing, energy testing, ask the questions. It's always about the right question. When we talked about earlier about the intention, it's always about intention, right? In that instance, I was intending to test him on his toes. Let me see how your toes respond to 3 Candy Kill a day. It was strong. 4 went weak. But the question was, I asked him originally, let me see how your body responds to continue to have 1 of these a day. He didn't need it, body-wise. His toes still needed 3 a day. So he kept taking 3 a day. All right. Foods. So now, is that tomato still here?
Yep.
Let me see. So when you test on foods, I have a big long list in my office. I don't have all these foods in front of me, and I'll say, let me see how you respond to apples, cherries, bananas, blueberries. Just go through the list. And people were shocked. They'll fail on 30, 40, 50, 60 foods. There was a guy in a few weeks ago who failed on 77 foods. There was a 14-year-old kid, a 12-year-old kid that was in and failed on 91 foods. He also failed on 11 metals in heavy metals testing kits. Excuse me. So I have a kit in the office. It has all these little vials in here. It's charged with the energies of all these different metals. For instance, there's aluminum, arsenic, antimony, beryllium, bismuth, cadmium, mercury, methylmercury, on and on and on. I'll test on these metals kits. And a lot of people on the first visit, because you're nutrient deficient, you're not digesting food very well, and your ability to detoxify heavy metals, toxic chemicals has been stymied because you don't have the building blocks to build the detoxification pathways efficiently. Because when people come in and I give them their group of nutrients, they'll fill in 4, 5, 6 metals in the kit, they'll fill in 60 foods, they'll fill in 8, 10 different weak reflexes on the body. They come back 4 weeks later after taking Cybezyme, Frontier Multivitamin, Omega-3D, and maybe a mineral formula. I test them again, and usually they don't have any weak reflexes on the body anymore. And that's if they didn't have any immune challenges too. So when they come back, usually everything's strengthened just from taking nutrition. So when you nutrify the body starts to work better, including detoxification. And when they take Frontier Multivitamin, Omega-3D, they stop eating inflammatory foods, their body can purge toxins a little more rapidly and efficiently. And I'll test them again on the metals kit, and quite often they don't test poorly on the metals kit. If they still test poorly, well then I'll say, for instance, they fell in 3 or 4 of these things in here, have them hold the 4 different weak vials, and I said, let me see how you respond to these 4 weak vials. Super weak. I'll have them hold Proline Greens, and it's super strong. I have them hold Frontier Cleanse. That one's super strong. And I said, well, let me see how you respond without this. Super weak. Hold the greens. Super strong. Then we'll ask, does your body want both of these together? No. Sometimes it's yes, but in this instance, say it's no. Say, well, is the greens better for you than the Frontier Cleanse? No. Is the Frontier Cleanse better than the greens? Yes. So then you have Frontier Cleanse. Let me see how your body responds to 2 Frontier Cleanse, 3 Frontier Cleanse, 4 Frontier Cleanse. You just dose afterwards. So you find what's weak, you find out what strengthens it, and move on from there. So heavy metals for detoxification, there's kits like this. In your kit, in your handout is the thing about ergopathic resources. If you wanted to order kits like this, you can contact them. They're a Canadian company. It'll ship them down to you. They have tons of different testing kits. Okay, so your thymus gland, why is food so important to you? Why is it so important to stay away from foods that bother you? Well, you want to test to find out. So why is food so important? When you eat foods you can't break down properly, in your sternum area by your heart, you have a thymus gland. And your thymus scans your blood. And when it sees proteins that shouldn't be in your blood, it'll alert your immune system to attack it. It's part of your immune system. If you don't break down food properly, like tomatoes, if you don't break up the tomato properly, or cabbage, or onions, or peppers, or whatever, incomplete products of digestion can get into your bloodstream, and then your thymus attacks that. So instead of that food feeding you, nutrifying you, you now have this inflammatory, energy-wasting, damaging process going on from eating foods that should be supporting you. So if you have the right enzyme to break your food down and you don't eat these things originally, now your body can rapidly detoxify, purge your lymphatic system, rebuild your cells. Every part of your body is always being rebuilt. Your skin is only 6 weeks old. Every cell of your skin's been replaced in the last 6 weeks. That takes a lot of nutrition. Your liver, big massive organ, 8 weeks. Every one of those cells is replaced with a new one. Your pancreas, it takes about 3 months to replace your pancreas. It takes about 8 months to replace every cell of your central nervous system in your brain. It takes 14 months to replace every cell of your joints. And it takes 2 years to replace every cell of your bones. So daily, if you nutrify yourself more efficiently daily, and you give your cells the nutrients they need to make all the processes they're supposed to do, and to make all these 550 kinases, you have your liver do all the functions it's supposed to do, all of a sudden your body starts working better. And that's literally what happened to me. I was a mess most of my life. I had all kind of arthritis and joint pain, and biceps tore off from the arthritis and all kinds of stuff. I had sleep apnea. It was a mess. And then I learned about this nutrition digestion thing. I stopped eating wheat. Wheat just destroys me. I had pizza. Every time I eat pizza once, I gained 4 pounds in one day from the inflammation from that. During my 60th birthday party, I had pizza 4 days in a row. 2 slices of pizza. I gained 12 pounds. Just blew up. And that's how it affects me. And I had a client actually come in who, he had fungal issues in the intestines. He was mid-late 60s guy. He had skinny arms, skinny legs. His abdomen was bloated out like a bowling ball or beach ball. And he took his antifungal remedy. He stayed away from the bad foods. He was an Italian guy. He stopped eating pasta and wheat. He lost 50 pounds in 1 month. He shrunk. I was shocked. I was worried at first he had some kind of cancer or something. He goes, no, I feel fantastic. He said, I've never had this kind of energy. So if you're eating food you don't digest well, your body can get all this inflammation in your body from that. It damages the rest of your body. So identify what food you want to stay away from, muscle test it. Let me see how you respond to tomatoes, cherries, peppers, onions. Go through the whole long list and tell that person stay away from that for 4 weeks. In that 4-week time, take your multivitamin, take your minerals, take your digestive aid, stop eating the stuff. Your body can reset and, replace your pancreas cells with pancreas cells that work better. Your liver's going to replace liver cells with liver cells that work better. And everything starts to work better. And I can do things now that I haven't done since I was in my 20s. It's just amazing how your body will work. So that's the deal with foods. You got to be able to digest your food, and that's really, really important. The thymus glands your blood. There's all these different meridians that flow through your body. If people have headaches, and asking people, is it a headache at the base of your skull? Is it wrapping around your head? They'll point to different parts of your head, and you can go to the meridian chart and see, is it headache here? Is it headache here? Is it bladder that's being irritated? Is it gallbladder that's being irritated? You can test the body and see what's what. So this is a general pathway that I follow. When people come to see me, I kind of follow this outline. It's kind of, if you just avoid things that inflame your body's going to do better. You want to put out the immune system fires. How do you know what that is? Test bacteria, fungus, parasite, virus. Test those reflexes. And find what's weak, find what strengthens it. You don't tell people, this will cure your virus. You never hear those words come out of my mouth. Just show you this reflex is weak and this Immunomax strengthened those weak reflexes. Maybe that's the one you should take. Your teeth. We talked about the teeth earlier. If you have a root canal, infected crown tooth, or a mercury-filled tooth, you're blocking voltage to those organs. See a biological dentist, someone who does a naturopathic doctor, biological dentist that has a clue about this, that can advise you on what to do with your teeth. You want to take in all the nutrients you need to work right. You want to be able to digest them as well. One of the biggest things that interferes with digestion, from listening to different naturopathic doctors talk about this, he says the gluten that's in wheat, barley, or rye is exceedingly difficult to break down. They've weaponized the wheat in this country to have 5 times the amount of gluten in it than it used to have. We've been to Italy 4 times. You go to Italy, you don't see any people that are overweight. Everybody's like lean, toned, wearing skinny jeans. Like, I haven't worn skinny jeans since ever. But anyway, it's unbelievable when you start researching what happens. They don't allow the endocrine system disrupting chemicals to be added to their foods, but their wheat has 1/5 of the gluten in it that we have here. So if you don't break down wheat properly, in your intestines are lined with villi and microvilli, and that paste from the unbroken down wheat can coat that villi and block your absorption of minerals and give you thyroid issues, give you low stomach acid, give you all kind of joint pains, all kind of problems. And that's what really happens with me. When I eat that stuff, it messes me up. So you got to be able to digest everything, break it down, and get it through your intestinal wall. And if you're eating wheat, barley, rye, or oats, they say 90% of the people in the United States can't digest it. It will coat that villi and block your absorption of nutrients. And then you got to be able to take toxic metals and chemicals out of your body. The more you improve your daily nutritional status, the more your detoxification pathway will increase and improve. But then there's things on top of that, like your Frontier Cleanse, protein greens, and different detoxifiers to bind to that stuff to get it out of your system. Improve your energy flow through scars. Find the right essential oil for that. Test the scars first. What they say, 874,000 women a year have a C-section. I bet none of them are told, you're probably blocking energy flow to all these different organs in your body when you do this. Okay, and then you got to move your body. Our bodies are meant to move. Whenever you walk, you're compressing your knee and you're decompressing your knee. And you compress it, you decompress it. And that's pumping nutrients in and out of those joint capsules, helping you restore the health of your knee. You got to move your body, but also when you move your body, you're draining your lymphatic system. So you got to exercise, you got to move your body. And then the power of your mind. When I test people and ask you, I say, what's your name? My name's Faith. I say, my name's Carol Ann. My name's Carol Ann. Super weak. So the power of your mind can control the power of your body. If you get a fatal cancer diagnosis, if you're the person that says, I'm going to die from this, I'm just going to pack my things and die, you're going to die. If you get a fatal cancer diagnosis, you say, I don't care what that goofball doctor says, I can beat this, it doesn't matter. His idea of my ability to overcome this doesn't matter. I can beat this. You can beat this. So all my life had all these, joint musculoskeletal problems. But I always knew that, sleep apnea, woke up exhausted, all this stuff. I always knew this. God wouldn't design our bodies to be a mess. There had to be a reason why I wasn't misfunctioning. And usually, you're not digesting food, you're too toxic from heavy metals and toxic chemicals, the daily nutrition supply, you're getting all the vitamins and minerals you need is severely lacking. Once you start improving that, the body will improve, and it will. Okay, and then, as I said, you just got to believe. I believed that somewhere along the way I'd find the answer. It took about 56 years, but I found the answer, and for myself and for many other people. So that's about it for my presentation today, I think. What we got here? So the different testing kits I use a lot of the heavy metals testing kit. Plants and pollens of the Northeast. There's 75 different vials in there. There's like 15 trees, 19 grasses, and the rest weeds, shrubs, and poison ivy, poison oak, that kind of thing. Lyme disease testing kit. I have a Lyme disease testing kit. There's 30 different Lyme factors in that kit. And I'll test people and see, if they have weaknesses there. And they may fail in 3, 4, 5, 6 of these things. Then I'll have the whole group of immune boosters, like 12 different immune boosters. And I'll say, let me see how these different Lyme factors respond to these. And it's weak. Should we eliminate this one out from the 12? No. Should we eliminate this one from the 12? Yes. Take that out. Let me see how you respond to the rest. No. Through a process of elimination, quite often when people fail on things in a Lyme kit, they'll test positively on 3, 4, 5, 6 different immune boosters. When I got bit by 2 ticks, I needed 6. But after a week taking this stuff, I felt fine. Someone's mom did really well with that recently. She was struggling with Lyme. We got bit by 9 ticks, I think it was. 9 ticks sitting by her pool. Things crawling over the pool. And she felt like garbage, and it took her a while for her wonderful daughter to convince her to come to see me and tested her, gave her the right stuff, and she did famously better. Let's see, emotions testing kits. Check this out. Emotions. There's 2 kits like this and have all these different vials in here. Oops. They're all charged with the energies of different emotions. I'm thinking like, how can you do that? Here we go again, right? Yeah, there's one always falls out of this one kit. But things like,
There's one in front of you.
oh, thank you. Things like dissatisfaction, egocentric, exhibitionism, envy, expression, disturbed, purpose, rage, sadness, avoiding, apathy, arguing, all these different emotions. They found a way to find the frequency of vibration of that particular emotion, charge it into this vial here, and you can test on this and see if this is one of the underlying causes of a person's issues. Okay, excuse me. So if you wanted to order kits, this is how do you order those kits? Self-testing, O-ring test. Yeah, let's talk about this. When I test people and teach people this, there's maybe only about 10% of the people can do this. If you take either hand, you take your ring finger or pinky finger, I like using my ring finger and thumb, and make an O-ring. And use your index finger on the other side, put it through there just a little bit, and give it an abrupt tug, and see how strong you are. And then you can hold something. Frontier multivitamin. Let me see how my body responds to having some of these frontier multivitamins. And that's super strong. Paracleanse. Let me see how my body responds to Paracleanse. And I can't begin to hold that. But only like 10 to 15% of people I show this to can do this type of thing. And the other thing is to self-test, to do a sway test. Sway test. So a sway test, and basically you hold it and relax. And you just calm down. Or you can close your mind if you like. And so you ask, let me see how my body responds to having some of this. And if you sway back, it's not so good for you. If it sways forward, it's supposed to be good for you. Some people do sway the testing that way. And that's if you don't have someone to test you. You can test this way. All right, there's my brother's dog, Binks. He was the coolest dog in the world. And Binks was dying. I remote tested him. I was in Ambridge. And Binks was taken to 4 different vets. He wasn't eating. And my brother had to carry him outside to do his business. He was crying. He was upset because Binks was the coolest dog. He was like 6 years old. So I remote tested him. I was out in Ambridge in my car, and I asked to connect to Binks. And after a minute, I was connected to Binks. I said, let me find the energy of Binks, 589 Donaldson Shores Drive in Cadiz, Kentucky. Am I connected to Binks? No. Am I connected to Binks? Yes. And finally, I was connected to Binks. And I said, and I was scanning my body, let me see how what's up with it. Does he have cancer? No. Does he have this? No. He had a problem with his heart, basically, and he had a problem with the food he was eating. And I tested him on a bunch of supplements. And the supplements he tested positively on, I brought those with me. I brought a bunch of other supplements with me, drove down to Kentucky and tested them directly. And the ones that I tested him on remotely are ones he tested really strongly on. The ones he didn't test on remotely, he didn't test well on those either. Yeah, he changed it, Ken changed his diet in 3 days, Binks was back to normal. I was like shocked. So yeah, even if you're not by somebody, if you have a loved one in California, whatever, you can ask to connect to them and remotely test them. It's possible. Okay. So allergy elimination treatments. Yeah, I do allergy elimination treatments. You can, it's a method like if you have an allergy to tomato, we muscle test you, you have a poor response to tomatoes. And after we improved your digestion, you still have a negative response to tomatoes. So we can do an allergy reversal treatment. Basically, you would hold a tomato in a glass jar, and you stimulate acupressure points and rub it up and down the spine while you breathe 4 different ways. And I test you originally, you're super weak. I test you after doing this, super strong. And you make a circle around the body, hitting different acupressure points around the body. And you hold this for a half hour, and something in your body flips that switch where you don't have the inflammatory negative response to that anymore. For instance, like if you're like a 1-year-old kid and you're bit by a cat, you're crying, your eyes are watering, your nose is running, and now when you're 25 years old, you're around cats, your eyes are watering, your nose is running, you have this subconscious program saying, cats make me do this. So you get a jar of cat fur, stimulate the points where you breathe 4 different ways, and something in your body resets, and quite often you have no negative response to cats anymore. And this is what I do all the time too. So if that's something you're interested in, call the Weiner Wellness Center, come and check me out and do this. Okay, so folks, appreciate the opportunity to share with you. Really, thank you, Jamie Dorley. Thank you, Tracy, for setting this up. Really, I love doing this and appreciate everything.
That's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Does anybody want, I'm going to talk into your lapel.
Okay.
Does anybody want to learn how to sway test real quick? Do you want to learn how to do it for yourself? All right, stand up. We're going to learn.
All right.
I'm going to steal this.
Sure, go ahead.
All right, I'm stealing this. So Jeff is the master at this, but you have to learn how to sway test and find your center point, right? So the very first thing that I teach people is don't ask a question, make a statement. I need this. So you want to do a positive negative. This is my yes. You'll fall forward. Don't fall the whole way. This is my no. You'll fall backwards. So everyone test your yes, no. You have to relax. You can close your eyes or not. That's up to you. This is my yes.
Why did you look over there when you said don't fall forward all the way?
I know he's over there. So this is my yes. Okay, and your no should just be from your feet, not from your hips. Okay. Now, if you think you need a product on the table, pick it up. Make the statement, I need this. Put it against your chest and let your body fall. I need this. All right, everybody, you may purchase that supplement on your way out the door. That's right.
Do that a few more times.
Yeah, let's try it again. Pick up a different product that you think you may not need. Michaela, how about that, huh? I need this. So if you don't need the product, you'll probably fall backwards. Now, if it's a product that you need, pick it up and put it against your chest and say, I need 2 of these. If you fall backwards, go up 1. I need 3 of these until you get a confirmed yes. So that's the way you can kind of test your dosage on things as well. Now, when your client texts you, right, from California and says, I'm in California, how many do I need? This is something that you can teach your clients so they stop texting you. No, I'm just kidding. So that you can say to them, sway test it. How many do you need? Okay? It's a really powerful tool to help your clients become their own doctor and to need you when they really need you. It saves you time, and it also empowers them and creates trust between you guys, okay? So great job, Jeff. Thank you so much. If you guys want to stay for questions, we're here. Jamie, do you want to do a finishing touch?
All right.
They were asking online.
Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. Jamie. Let's see if I can
Let's hear it for
disconnect
these 2 incredible speakers today. Thanks so much, Dr. Tracy and Jeff.
this.